was messy, but nonetheless very interesting. So I was able to wake up early and I did what I needed to do. I prepared breakfast, so I undercooked the salmon, so I had to only eat parts of it. I made my mom bring me to school and it went mostly fine. I thought today was going to be a cookie cutter day. A cookie cutter day in that nothing much would really happen, mostly just academical stuff. But that was quite the opposite to what I was really thinking about here, or what really happened. So here we go. I got to school around 7:40 a.m. and I had a slow but fine conversation with a few. I was able to share a big thing about me, like what happened yesterday, if you guys want to view that Instagram reel or YouTube video. I eventually got my own voice drowned out as others joined in, and it's not wrong. I'm just not meant for large conversations, but it went mostly well. Not really much to note there. Credit to the anchoring names that I can remember from the friend group. I don't remember everyone, so I'm just gonna name the ones that I could remember. Credit to Mia, Pat, and others that I can't name yet. So, anyways, first period. Let's begin. I worked on Spanish this time, and of course, I tested the teacher, specifically requesting question number 8, which had a verb conjugation. I comedically tested his patience if whether I was going to say yo saba or yo se, and the class was telling me or shouting for me to say yo saba, and I wanted to say it, but I know he was going to metaphorically get comedically very mad, so I just said yo se instead, though it was pretty funny, I'll be honest with that. Now, after that, I decided to work on 2 Spanish assignments, but I finished barely on time because I didn't even realize there was a second one to do. But that's good. We already got it done, so here we go. Second period. I was in PE and it went quite interesting. I played volleyball for a bit, and the lore that I heard was apparently during some sort of gym class, some sort of class, a teacher put her finger on her toes and then put it back in her mouth and licked it, and it was just kind of crazy. And I even heard she even put it back on her toes. I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I've heard. That what I heard on the court. It could be true or false, but I do hope it's false. But if it's true, then I don't want to see where it actually happened. I didn't wear sunscreen for most of the volleyball game, so I did get a little toast, a toasted white boy. I laughed a little bit, and I did laugh a little incessantly whenever they missed or maybe even kept their volleyball hits. Everybody won some, everybody lost some. So credit to Isaiah, credit to a few others I still yet don't remember during the game. After that, when I went to throw a water away, I was confronted by Nicole's friend group again to try to apparently beat me up. Apparently, some of the boys nearby thought of joining in, but they did not at the end since I didn't even fight at all, and I don't have any quarrel with them at all anyway. So instead of overt word salad, I just chose silence. I mean, they were threatening to send in like their hands in, so even spit insults at me too, character. So I either plan to tell the teachers or simply don't talk at all. During then, I also did stare at the teachers that were up the stairs to them. To one of my friends outside of this PE situation that I talked to you guys about, you guys told me that I should stand up to myself and maybe tell them something so that they won't make fun of me anymore. Since this is something that is crossing lines for me, bro. In order to stand up for myself and for my own integrity, whenever if they try to cause problems again, I'm just gonna tell the teacher. To be honest, I'll probably even waive security. That's what I'll do. In case it does happen again, I'll just go up to the teachers because honestly, I'm already dealing with a lot of academic stuff. I'm already hanging out with a lot of people, and I want to make sure that my happiness is my happiness and my sadness is my sadness. So I don't want any drama that's not my drama. So what I'll do is I'll just push it to the teachers if it does end up happening. And again, and Nicole, if your group is watching this right now, I'm not gonna do anything here yet. So what I'm just gonna do here is that I want you guys to think about the fights. What if your adult self, imagine your 25-year-old self, your 30-year-old self was looking at you right now. Like, let's remove the excuses of high school as an adolescent place. Let's see what your adult self during that situation, if they were there, what would they say to you? I'll put that question out there, even for the audience that's watching. What would you do in your adult self whenever a fight like this is happening, or whenever something is about to happen? What would they say? How would they have acted differently? And how is it different from the version that they are right now? So that's simply what I ask of the group. What would future you say? Is the last thing that I'd ask. And I have nothing to do with them physically. I don't even have all their contacts. So at this point, this power isn't even power at all. It's just insecurity and problems that are masked as power. They could throw hurts, they could throw insults, but at least I know what it means to be civil like that. Third period. In science class, I worked on an ed puzzle assignment while also fixing up a questionnaire assignment. The teacher, since I didn't answer 6 times in the seminar, made me do 2 paragraphs about wildfires instead of like doing 10 or more for the ones who did not participate in the Socratic seminar at all. I finished the ed puzzle first, then the assignment, and then the essay paragraphs. And also big credit to my former Socratic partner, Lynn, if you're watching this. Fourth period, we took notes about World War II, and we're learning about how Germany's regime is taking over countries such as Denmark, and they also invaded France with Vichy's puppet government that they set up. And while they blocked the side that faces Britain, but also left another side of France occupied by one side of France that was completely taken over by German military and German people, while the other side, a puppet government, was set up. And we also learned how underground campaigns also eventually defeated these people. We learned in that the one that was blocking Britain, the one that side faced to Britain, they didn't want Britain sending in support, so that's what they did. That's why they divided it into 2 places. Also learned about how in the powder keg of Europe, how Italy and other countries that were allied and Axis were battling each other like crazy. It's not like overt wars, like large scale wars. It's just like instead of like 2 countries fighting each other, imagine like a small little map. You have like 4 different countries, 5 different countries, 10 different countries. A lot of them are allied, a lot of them are Axis, a lot of them are neutral, a lot of them are fighting. These are mini battles that keep on going on. That's why they call it the powder keg. Learning about that was also interesting too. The teacher even said for fourth period that he could cover an entire year about the powder keg of Europe during this time, and yet he still would not be done. So found that kind of crazy anyway. I finished up some math work after, since I already finished up a lot of other assignments that I had to do. So lunch. The big confusion here is that I did go to lunch period, but I spent like 10 minutes seeing if my friends were in line, but they were actually not. I overlooked what my friends truly were because I thought they were doppelgangers. I thought my friends were still in line, or maybe they were sitting somewhere else, or maybe they were going to come to me. But I realized that when I entered the cafeteria, it was actually them, not doppelgangers. So that was kind of crazy, to be honest. I eventually sat with them. Okay, so you guys, if you're watching, not really much happened. One message that I would say is that please get us boba, even though I know all of us are broke right now. I only have like 0 cents in my bank account. Yes, yeah, you only have like 55 cents in your bank account, so we're all broken away. But please promise that you'll get us boba one day, even though they might be never, and that's okay. But anyways, though, I'm leading back too much here. So after that, I was like a tag along, and I visited a few other buildings. I visited the corridor of B building that I really haven't explored at all before. So that was kind of crazy for me. We visited like four different classrooms that I have not seen before, and I asked the teacher who was a sub if he was going to sub for my class because he subbed for my class like a few times before for sixth period, and he said it kind of depends. Anyways, I did pull off some jokes if the door was closed. Sometimes when the door was closed, I'd usually just say to them, please, knock on the door and then say please. And then somehow magically the door itself would open. I did crack a few of those jokes. Just say please to the door and hope it opens. I mean, I think that was the entire reason, if I remember, me entertaining some assignments. So big credits to you guys if you're watching this. So at the end, I did also wave to a known friend as we passed toward fifth period, past lunch period anyways. And that was kind of interesting. I'll credit to Layla and Noelia, though even though I might have pronounced that wrong. Anyway, let's be honest. Fifth period. I bet 10 cents again that there would be late students. One Jackson, and then one of the other students also ended up being late. And I was yet right again. The same thing is that the teacher acted like a mom bossing the boys around. She even called one of them out for not paying attention in a sassy way. If you guys were there, you would be laughing. She's that type of like teacher. I asked that teacher if we could have Jesus Club this week, but she only said once because the next 2 weeks it's just going to be a complete combobulation of chaos. I don't know if there's going to be rescheduling at all. During the reading, though, is that we learned in Lord of the Flies as Simon was dehydrated and he lost water as he was looking at the pig that was mounted on a stake. They hunted it down head on a stake for one of the pigs and as an offer to the beast. His mind began to hallucinate. Simon's mind began to hallucinate as if the pig itself was speaking and telling him about why he's a little boy and he should not be messing around. Well, the biggest thing that I learned here is that this is the beast of the Lord of the Flies. The Lord of the Flies isn't actually a beast. It's actually Simon's own consciousness. So what I learned here is that the pig that was talking back to Simon was his own consciousness. Like he himself is the beast. The pig is the medium where it travels back to him. His consciousness travels back to him. So that's a big thing I learned here is that even during the audio reading of the book Lord of the Flies, which the pig on the head was and put as an offer to the his voice was very demonic and raspy. And funnily and sadly too, I said to one of the boys nearby that when he gets angry, he sounds like the demonic voice. Like just imagine, like after the audiobook reading of that demonic voice that was said as Lord of the Flies, like as if it was Simon's own consciousness in like a very raspy voice. And then after that, I said the joke to Jackson. He said like quote unquote okay bro, and his girl also laughed. And he also heard that quote unquote that's why you don't say my name as often. You don't really talk as often. But then as a result, I did hurriedly complete a worksheet of that Lord of the Flies. And it was kind of funny. I'm sorry, Jackson, for cracking that joke. Your voice is not raspy or demonic. Just leaving it like that. Although when you do get mad, you do get mad. Sixth grade. This is where it gets really messy again. One of my muscular, crazy friends, when he was bored, he called me a carajo, quote unquote, which in English means the word FUC, which I can't say right now. When I was practicing math in fourth period, obviously I did realize that the square root symbol and any negative in a radicand, that negative symbol is transferred out of the radicand and turned into I outside the square root symbol. Then I got confused, like, oh, the negative isn't transferred out as a negative, it becomes I. So the inside of the radicand is no longer negative. So that's something I eventually caught on to because I was confused for a little bit. I eventually joined back with the crazy boys in my math period, and they said a bunch of crazy stuff. The math assignment itself was easy to find, but their talking really delayed me. So a crazy joke that they said to each other was that when the perfume got dropped, like this is a literal small perfume, the teacher said that its smell is going to be really strong. My friend said a very inappropriate joke that the perfume itself releases scent and it outgasses. It releases a lot of scent. And he related that joke into a terrible Germany's regime to the Jews in the 1940s. He related that joke to that. And I, for me, found that absolutely crazy. DM me if you guys want to hear that a joke, because I'm not going to say that right here, just out of respect. And, big credit to the friend group I was in about, like 7 girls about a few months ago. I might visit you guys sometime. You guys might vaguely remember the mention that I said that one of my sixth period friends apparently loves to make out with a Roblox character named Melanie. And another joke that they said was apparently saying that their addiction to Melanie, a Roblox character, like my friend's addiction to that Roblox character, was that one of my friends said to the other, quote unquote, she ain't gonna let you hit, quote unquote. The other said, quote unquote, make her, quote unquote. And I was like, bro, that is toxic and very dangerous for you to say that. Like, and for me, I was absolutely surprised that they even said that at all. And even my other friend also said to him, quote unquote, bro, she looked like an elementary kid, quote unquote. Now the other said, quote unquote, she's paper. She wasn't even born. She doesn't even exist, quote unquote. And I'm like, oh my god. These people just threw me off like crazy. And that cascaded like a simple math assignment into a living hell of work. And what I mean by that is that For one of my friends who I just talked to you about like a few hours ago, if you guys are watching me, like you're hyper watching me, I'm in the text. When I was talking for one of my friends from the interview, if you guys are watching this, you notice that I deleted my messages when I first sent them to you, and then I sent you a new set of messages instead to explain the situation about second period. Like my mind was so convoluted that I barely was able to even make a message at all. Even though my mom was also late too, so I also had to end up waiting, and then that also just threw off my mind at all. And it's also what caused the craziness of having to be fast, deciding to do homework versus doing this video, and obviously as I went to turn in my math homework chat, right at the end of the day, at least like a few minutes ago, I was I was looking everywhere for one of my other math papers. I have two. And then for like 10 minutes, I looked in all my folders to find that one math book, but only to realize it was on my computer's keyboard. Yes, it threw me off that much that I am that dumb, and then I don't even remember what it was, but thankfully I did turn it in. So for today, for me, it was just convoluted to keep it like that.